Hey, what's going on, Jesus followers? Welcome back to another episode of Hot Topics. My name is Aaron, and I'm here with my good friend Nicole.
What's up?
Nicole, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good.
Actually,
doing
I'm
good.
nervous.
A little
'cause of
nervy?
that.
Okay, yeah. So if you haven't noticed, there's a little thing right here on the table. It's called Shocktato, and so I like it
Shocktato.
because it spices up every conversation you could ever have. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna jump right into
I
it.
just want to hop in to let you know that Aaron almost killed me with the hot wings. So
Okay.
this right here
Killed is an exaggeration.
is like another another thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this thing isn't gonna burn your throat. Okay.
That's
so I'll
true.
give you that one.
That's true.
All
Let
right,
me take
or
my
maybe
ring
make
off.
you throw up. Maybe it actually could. Yeah, you probably want to take that ring off so you don't
Metal.
get absolutely obliterated. But
All right.
yeah, so we're gonna jump right into this. I'm gonna ask you questions. A very simple question.
Okay.
So I'll ask you how your day went,
Okay.
and all you gotta do is just describe to me
My day.
how was your day yesterday,
Okay.
and we can go just
Back
let me
and
know.
forth.
Yeah. And as we're talking, we're gonna hand this back and forth to
Great.
each other and
Let's-
see how the conversation just spices up. You know what I mean?
My palms are sweaty.
Are they?
Isn't that an Eminem song?
Yeah. The palms are sweaty, knees weak.
Something
Arms are
spaghetti.
heavy. Something about spaghetti. One
Okay.
time for M. Yeah. So go ahead and
I'm ready.
let me know how your day was.
Oh my
How's your day?
gosh.
Hold it, please.
It's good. How was yours?
Well, I mean, you can give me a little bit more. Please hold it. Please hold
I
it.
can't
What'd you do
hold
yesterday?
it.
What'd you have for lunch?
I didn't eat lunch.
You didn't eat lunch? Why
No.
not?
I was with my grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
I'm tired of playing this game. They're like shocked, like I can feel it in my stomach.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Okay, are we playing again? No, right?
Yeah.
No,
I want to
no,
know
no,
what
no,
you
no,
did.
no,
I want to
no,
know
no,
what you did
no.
at the end of the day. Like,
I-
what would you do around the evening
I
time?
moved the couch.
You moved the couch?
Yes.
Thing, was it heavy?
Look how I'm talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Twice. That's great.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's great.
I'm
Oh
kinda
my
over
gosh,
this.
that like.
Where's
Marco.
I'm gonna put this. Anyway.
Oh my gosh,
so-
that was the worst thing ever.
I know.
Dang, it doesn't hurt.
No.
It's just like the initial like. Oh
I
my
feel
gosh.
like someone tickled my.
Like it
my
just like
finger nerve.
zaps you.
Yeah, I feel like someone like aggressively tickled my.
It got my
finger
whole
nerve.
arm. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm not gonna cap.
Anyway, good. I'm glad that you yeah.
Moved the couch.
And
Didn't eat lunch.
Yeah, that's good.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Anyway, so let's jump right into it. Let's get
Sweet.
into it. So today, just want to ask you a couple questions. So number one, just to start it off, what does a day in the life of Nicole look like, just generally?
Generally. Okay.
And we're gonna go somewhere with this. But
Okay,
yeah,
cool,
what does it just
cool.
look- what does it look like?
Yep.
Generally? What's the blueprint?
So for the most part, my day looks pretty normal. I think I get up. I don't eat breakfast, which you
Good, I don't
probably
either.
should eat breakfast.
Probably
I hear it's
should.
like healthy.
They said it's like the most important meal of the day, but
yeah,
I strongly
but I don't. I
strongly
do
don't
coffee.
agree with
That's so
that.
bad.
no, but that's kind of
Yeah.
I'm on that wave.
No, I'm a routine person, so I
Got
love a
it.
good routine. So for the most part, I'll wake up. I don't know, maybe like depending on the day, 7:30. Actually, more like 8:30,
Yeah,
and then I have to get a cup of coffee
word.
somewhere around my day,
Amen.
and then from there, it kind of differs, to be honest,
Gotcha.
in the sense of what I'm doing that day.
Yeah.
But what doesn't differ is, and it's gonna sound so like cheesy because it's like Jesus followers, but the reality is it's true.
Yeah.
Is I wake up and I pray right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether my prayer is long or short, I always just make sure the first thing I do is incorporate Jesus into
Yeah.
the day.
Word.
And so like today I woke up and I got my cup of coffee and I just went to my room and I said, Lord, I'm going to yield myself to you.
Yeah.
However you want today to look like, I'm going to follow you. And
Yeah.
then wasn't like a super long thing. Sometimes I think we think like it's got to be hours,
Yeah.
right? And so today was more of a probably like a 5-10 minute thing.
Yeah.
And then I went on to here, obviously.
Yeah.
And then so normally that's kind of how it looks. I'll go through work, I'll go through my day,
Yeah.
and then if I didn't spend enough time in the morning, then I'll come home
Yeah.
somewhere around, work on a message, and then
Mhm.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, I feel that.
I love. I don't know why, but like I could wake up as early as 6 in the morning, but I can't go to bed till like 1:32.
Gotcha.
It is like the weirdest thing
Yeah.
ever. But I'll stay up for maybe like an hour or 2 hours, and that's when
Yeah.
I really
Gotcha.
at night is when I really get into my word.
Word.
Is when I pray. Is when I don't know,
Yeah.
just do that. And then sometimes I work out.
Oh wow.
Sometimes
Wow.
I haven't worked out all quarantine. Actually, I only worked out twice.
One time for fitness,
One
or
time
or,
for the
or maybe
fitness.
2 times
Two
because that's all it
times.
was.
But yeah, it's really simple,
Yeah.
and I eat
gotcha.
throughout the day. But yeah, so that's kind of
Sure.
what it looks like, and
Okay.
then it's different.
That's
throughout
what's
the day.
up. Yeah. So I love what you're talking about. you know, how your day looks. It's like, it is what it is. Everybody's out
Right.
there, whatever. But I love how you mentioned, like, in the morning, like, you
Yeah.
pray. You
Right.
know what I mean? You
Yeah.
pray. And why, and this is another question, why is it so important for you personally
Yeah.
that you make that a priority, and that at whatever time you wake up
Sure.
or whenever you do, like, why for you is that a
Yeah.
priority? Why is it so
That's
important
good.
that you do that?
Yeah, I think for me it's because if I don't put Jesus first, I have a tendency to put obviously me first, which
Yeah.
means I fall into the place of I can put my emotions first. I could be
Mm.
led by my emotions. I could be led by my own thoughts. I could be led by my flesh.
Dang.
So the moment I just stop, and even if it's literally for 30 seconds, and I recognize that Jesus isn't just my savior, but he's my Lord.
Yeah.
Right? So when I say,
That's right.
Jesus, you're my Lord, that means you're my decision maker. That means you're my master. That means you're who
Yeah.
I follow.
Yeah.
And so when I can submit to the lordship of Jesus,
Yeah.
then my emotions and my feelings and how everything I feel follows that.
Yeah.
So now the lens in which I look out throughout the day no longer becomes my flesh,
Yeah.
or no longer becomes
That's good.
because let's be real, like, life isn't rainbows and butterflies when you follow Jesus,
Facts.
right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
right.
like, oh, like, your life is perfect and you've got it together. Like, there's
Mhm.
moments and life is tough
Yeah.
and things aren't as awesome always. And so when I get into submissive under Jesus and I remind myself, listen, you're not going to respond by your emotions.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to
Definitely.
respond to life by your feelings.
Mhm.
That's why I do it.
Gotcha.
Is so that I'm not led. And I don't do it perfectly. Like, my life isn't perfect. But what I'm saying is I do my best to submit and to
Gotcha.
say, Jesus, I'm looking at it the way
Yeah.
you want me to. I'm submitting
Definitely.
to you. And so that's why I do it.
So I love that, and I want everyone to get into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because you made a really interesting statement talking about how when you do that, you put, when you pray, you put the Lord first, but when
Right.
you don't, it's like you're subjective to put yourself
Yeah.
first. And so on that topic, what's the dynamic?
Yeah.
If you can begin to get into that a little bit more, describe that for you.
Yeah.
For the dynamic of when you do put the Lord first, what kind of things happen
Sure.
in your day?
Yeah.
And when you don't,
Yeah.
when you maybe, skip the prayer, maybe throw on,
Right.
some type of music or
Yeah.
whatever else that it is for you, like in the morning, what is it like in those two
Mm.
different dynamics?
So
What can you
good.
start to, like, if you can describe that?
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Let me start with saying when I don't put Jesus first. I'll
Yeah.
do that one because again, it's happened, right? Not perfect. And
Oh,
so what that looks like is my day feels awful. And
Yeah.
it is like I tell you, it is
Yeah.
the strangest and
Yeah.
weirdest thing. But there's moments where I'd get out and you ever like wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just like, this day is not it. And
Mhm.
sometimes because I feel like that, the less I actually want to press in.
That's right.
Like, I feel like
Yeah.
I don't feel like going to pray right now. I'm like, God, I know you got me, but like, let me just
Yeah, that's
throw a
right.
pity party,
Facts.
right? And so there's moments where I wish I wouldn't have done it, but I have.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, my day feels, the whole day feels just how I woke up,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel like sad. If I wake up sad, I have a tendency of just being sad the whole day.
Yeah.
One of the things that I struggled with growing up was anxiety. And
Wow.
so when I don't address Jesus as Lord, a lot of times what I realize is those little things can start to creep back in,
Dang.
right? And the anxiety can maybe creep back in, or the things of fear can creep back in.
Yeah.
And so that begins to be what my day looks like.
Gotcha.
Now I'm responding with fear. Now I'm responding with anxiety. Now I'm
Yeah,
responding to
wow.
things like with pressure, even little things like I get an email, right? And if I don't put Jesus first, but I just kind of do whatever I want, I get
Yeah.
an email. Sometimes I feel like the pressure to respond right away, or like
Yeah.
it freaks me out
Yeah.
for some apparent reason, right?
Yeah.
And so what I've realized, and this is why I'm telling you, Aaron, I have to go before the Lord on a daily basis,
Right.
because I don't want to fall back to when I was 18, to when I
Yeah.
was 19, or to when I was in high school and I was dealing with the pressure of performing.
Yeah.
So what my day looks like when it comes to me presenting myself before the Lord and saying, God, I yield to you, it means I yield to you.
Yeah.
And I always go back to this verse of God, like, I got to cast my cares onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Your burden is easy, your yoke is light.
That's good.
And so I always fall back on those things. And when fear ever comes up, people don't think I'm a fighter. I'm really not, generally. Watch out, John O'Connor.
Generally.
But in the spirit,
Mhm.
I'll go down.
Word.
Because the reality is it's my soul.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like anxiety or when it comes to fear, I will pull scripture out. And
That's right.
that is what I'll go. And
Mhm.
so many times I'll just say, God, you've not given me the spirit of fear, but of
That's
power,
right.
of love. And that's how I just start my morning when I
Wow.
feel those things.
Yeah.
And again, submitting myself before the Lord
Yeah.
because I've dealt with it
That's good.
and I don't want to deal with it
Yeah.
again.
That's good.
And so for me, it's like Jesus is the answer.
Yeah.
And as cheesy and as crazy as you may think that
It's
sounds,
truth.
it's truth.
It's absolute
Yeah,
truth.
and it's the reality. And I refuse to live life without Jesus. I just refuse. And so
Yeah. I love
yeah.
that. I love that so much. And I think, yeah, when you're talking about these things, like at the end of the day, like the dynamic and what the situation is, if you choose to wake up and put the Lord first, you know what I mean? As opposed to doing whatever else. I think when we do that, when we make that decision, it's like you said, if you wake up with a certain type of emotion, but you don't address that,
Right.
you're subject to everything else that comes along with that
Correct.
emotion.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you wake up, and honestly, it takes a discipline, like you said,
Mm.
because sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed,
Yeah.
like with a king. It's like
Yeah.
a kink in your neck, but it's in your
In your
in
soul.
in your soul, kink in
Yeah.
your soul, if that
Kink
makes
in your
sense.
soul.
You know? Yeah, but you can wake up with that kink
Um,
in your soul, and you don't necessarily want to press in,
Right.
but we need to,
Right.
because what that does is that puts our flesh in its
That's
place.
right. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It puts the flesh in its place. It shows the Lord, you are more important than what I feel.
Right.
You know?
No, it's
You
so
are more,
good.
yeah, and in a relationship, which is what this is all about.
Yep.
All of it is our relationship with Jesus Christ. What that shows is, Lord, I have affection for you. I love you.
It's good.
So I'm going to do this
Yep.
because I love
I
you.
love you.
It's
right.
not something that I have to do because it's like I'm a Christian, and if I don't, I'm not Christian, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
No,
But
that's
it's this
good.
affection.
Right.
It's this emotion, it's this inner stirring that just says, Lord, even though I'm not feeling it right now, I don't want to do this, you know what I mean? I would much rather put on whatever else to get my morning started. I'm going to do this
So
because I
good.
love you.
Yep.
I'm going to do this because I
Yep.
know that I need you. And I think the one thing, even just personally for me in my own life, is understanding how much I need Jesus
That's so good.
has radically
Yep.
changed the way I live.
That's so good.
Understanding that
Yeah,
I need
love
him.
that.
It's not that like he makes my life better,
Right.
but
No,
I
it's
am
like
in
my soul.
my soul
I need you.
depends on it.
Yep.
I am in desperate need, and when
Yep.
you understand that, it makes you lean on him so much
Right.
more.
Right.
So much
Well, you know
more.
what I think of too, quickly if I could add, is
Yeah.
talking about discipline and stuff. I
Yeah.
always wanted to be like an Olympic athlete, right?
Word.
Just like I think that'd be so epic. But you realize what differs an Olympic athlete from a regular athlete is the discipline they choose to get there.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of the times you hear these athletes, these Olympians are like, yeah, I'm so excited to eat cake. I haven't eaten cake for 3 years. And you're like, what?
Nuts.
Right? Like they're strict diet. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to sleep in because I wake up.
Yeah.
And the reality is if you want a certain result, you have to be willing to put in the work for that
That's
result,
right.
And so I
Mhm.
think you have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to put in discipline. You have
Yeah.
to be willing to say no. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you've said no to more than enough things to where it's
Yeah.
like, I would love to say yes to going out tonight, but
But
I'm going to say no.
but
You know, and
Yeah.
so there's always that, like, man, there's always that, Jesus, I'm saying no to these things because I'm saying yes to you.
yeah.
And so it's so good.
Love that. Yeah. It's if you want the results, like if you want to, be a believer and someone who's in a relationship with Jesus that sees results, like if you're trying to see
Yeah.
fruit, like if you're trying to see, these different successes, if you're trying to see peace, if you're contending for something, you're fighting for
Yeah.
something in your life to happen, and you want to see these things, play out,
Yep.
it takes that discipline.
Discipline.
Olympian
Yeah.
faith
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have
That obedience
Jesus.
too.
Yes,
right?
that obedience to say, I'm gonna bite down on the mouthpiece
Yep.
and do what I have to
Yeah.
do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the awesome thing about it is when you do that, when you make that decision, when you're willing and obedient to say, Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm doing this, Jesus meets you there.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's
not like
good.
you're just like out on the doorstep, like
Right.
waiting for something to
Right.
happen. When you step in and you'll be obedient to spend that time with Jesus,
Yeah.
take time in prayer, to open up the Bible and you're reading, maybe even a chapter you don't understand, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
doesn't
But
make
you're
sense
still
yet,
doing it.
but you're still doing
Yeah.
it. Jesus will meet you
Yeah.
there.
And notice this too, that nobody sees the hard work that Olympians put in. They
Fire.
only see the results.
That's right.
Right?
Mhm.
And they always put their results into the secret place.
Come on.
And so a lot of people won't ever see the
Yeah.
effort you put in, but they'll see the
Oh, that's
stage time,
so
right?
good.
But you don't realize is
So good.
we're not here just because it's like, oh, it's an overnight thing. Someone said it's not
Mhm.
an overnight success, it's
That's right.
overtime
Yeah.
success. And I thought that was so
Yep.
good because it's not just a here it is. It's
Mhm.
no, I'm putting in work
Yeah.
in the secret
That's
place.
right.
I'm meeting God face to face
Yeah.
in the dark, me and God, nobody else.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find me.
That's right.
And from there, the Lord will take you. I
Fire.
love that. I love that
Fire.
that our success is just to follow what God is saying.
Yeah.
Like, how do you define success? Am I doing what God is saying? Yes or no?
Mhm. It's
And
so
if
simple.
you are, then you're successful.
Yeah.
Because it's the Lord who will exalt you. It's the Lord who will lift you up. And so
Yeah.
I love that there's no pressure when
Oh,
it
so
comes.
good.
Because when we follow Jesus, He makes a way.
Yeah.
He leads us. And so,
Yeah, and even on that note, I'm reminded in the Bible of like how the disciples, 12 disciples of Jesus, how they walked with him everywhere,
yeah.
but the most progress that they made in their lives, the most that they learned and they were enlightened
Yeah.
is when they were taken aside with
Dang,
Jesus, when
it's
Jesus
good.
took them aside.
So good.
When they were like out and about, like
Right.
doing, and Jesus was like, like you're
Yeah.
healed. This thing's going down. You get out, yeah, and
Right,
like
right.
he's just doing all these crazy
These
miracles just
things.
everywhere. But the most that the disciples learned
Dang,
is when
that's
Jesus
so
took them
good.
aside, away from the crowd,
Yep.
away from everybody, and said, "Hey, remember when I told that story? This is what it means."
Come on.
You know what I
That's
mean?
so
Like when I
good.
was doing
Yeah.
this is why I did it.
So good.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's in those little pockets of
Right.
time when we're alone with
Him.
Jesus
Yep.
that we make the most progress, that
Dang.
we see the most results.
Yep.
Because when Jesus had left, right? When they left his presence,
Right.
what they learned in those moments, they took with them.
Right.
And that's what their ministry was.
Yep.
That's when they began to see fruit in
Yep.
their life, is when they recalled what Jesus had taught them and what they
By
received
themselves
from them
aside.
in those little pockets of
So
time,
good.
those separate moments, away
Yep.
from the crowds, away from the miracles, away from everything.
It's the power of the
those
secret place.
The power of the secret
Come
place.
on,
I love
so
that.
good.
So good.
My
Yeah,
gosh.
but that's what it's all about. It's
Yeah.
that simple concept that you're saying, being willing and obedient to be separate in the morning,
Mm.
whether it's like a couple minutes and just
Right.
prayer, being
Right.
completely transparent with the
Yep.
Lord, reading just a couple of chapters and saying,
Yep.
God, I'm open to hear whatever it is.
That's good.
I don't have an agenda. I'm not looking for anything specific. What do you want to say?
Yep.
What are you
And
looking
I
for?
love how it doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be. I think sometimes we get lost in the fact that it has to be like 5 hours. Like if I don't
no,
pray 5
no.
hours, no, what is God asking of you?
Yeah.
Right? I remember when I was 12 and I took L7 and it was like,
Hey.
just give me 12 minutes. That's all it was. And I
Yeah.
remember I would give God like, God, I'm going to give you my best 12.
Yeah.
And that's all you need. Like God is not like, oh, you need your 5 minutes off. No,
Yeah.
he's like, and give me what I'm asking of you and watch what I can do with just 5 minutes of your time. I always tell these
So
people, I'm going to,
So good.
my last thing, but I always say when it comes to Jesus clubs, because a lot of them are unchurched, I would always say, hey, could you give Jesus your one song? And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, before you play Drake, before you play Little TJ, before you play Taylor Swift, I don't even care who you play,
Word.
before you play whoever, could you give him one song, 3 minutes, just
Mhm.
see what God can do if you give him the first
Yeah.
3 minutes.
So good.
And I think that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Is God, I'm going to give you, here's what I've got, I'm going to give you my first. And watch what God can do.
So
It's
good.
Epic.
Love
He's
it.
epic.
Love it so much. Well, I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Such a
Yes.
good conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you guys are encouraged with this podcast and you guys take to it. And remember, again, all the Lord wants is just your time.
That's right.
And he just wants to be with you.
Yep.
And so with that note, we want to thank you guys for watching. Tune in to the next episode and
Yes.
we'll see y'all then.
Love you.